Paper Mario: The Origami King is one of the most unique games in the series. It's one of only 2 installments to completely ditch having a conventional battle system, asterisk. It also tends to mesh elements from the first 2 games with a couple salvageable ideas from Sticker Star and Color Splash. One of said salvageable ideas turned out to be the weapons. I can only assume this was Nintendo's way of bringing back consumable attacks. Thankfully, the game still gives us normal jump and hammer attacks that are completely inconsumable. Now, I've been wanting to go back and replay Origami King ever since I first beat it back in January, so why not do a challenge run on it as well? Can you still beat Origami King's 13 main bosses without any weapons? Let's find out. Can you beat Paper Mario: The Origami King without any weapons? Our first stop for the day is the good old Earth Elemental. Now, this is pretty much a tutorial for bosses, so we won't spend much time on it. On top of it already being quite easy, our main drawback also has like barely any effects this early on. As a result, this boss is pretty much just normal. Colored pencils was also quite easy. The fact that I've already beaten this game before and just know what to do in order to beat mostly every boss in this game just helps a lot here. Normally you'd have to spend quite a bit just figuring out what to do in what order. Anyway, with that knowledge, Colored Pencils is a complete breeze. He literally didn't even get to use his special attack because I killed him while he was charging it. And that's the 2 bosses in Chapter 1 finished. Time for Chapter 2. The Water Veil was also quite easy. This has a lot more of a strategy-based fight, so realistically all you need to do to win is just not be stupid. You need to pay extra attention to what will get swept away and what won't, because those can really fuck you over. Same goes with the arrows, really. It can line itself up in such a way that an arrow that gets you closer to the boss always gets washed away, and that shit's really annoying. Now, this was the only regular fight I decided to include, and that's because these ninjas really fucking suck. There's like 3 waves of them, and they're also dodgy as hell. Here was the first spot in the whole run I had to use a mushroom just to stay alive in the battle. The ninja house in general is stupidly hard, even on a replay, because of fights like this. And also keep in mind that I didn't fight a single ninja in that one empty room where you whack the wall. This battle is insane. Rubber Bands was unbelievably easy. You literally don't even need to attack him normally at all, since he doesn't even hide your 1000 fold arms or on panels and chests. You can literally just keep yanking him until you're done. That was surprisingly simple. After arguably one of the best moments in any Paper Mario, we arrive in Chapter 3. Only 2 bosses here, but my god are they dubious. The Fire Veil is quite possibly the most interesting fight in the run, because the solution for this fight is very stupid. Just sit there and wait for it to shed all of its feathers, then pluck it. Simple. I legit thought the run was over for a bit because I thought it was too slow to kill it before it got to fully heal. Nah, I just had to do absolutely nothing. It also does this thing where once it sheds all its feathers, it leaves a perfectly intact road for you to get to the water spot and then the hands. This battle's so stupid. Anyway, Hole Puncher is where a lack of any good damaging moves really starts to show. Holy fuck, this fight took ages. Hole Puncher is such a suckish boss, even normally. It sucks even more here. It's a perfectly normal fight in every other way, it's just so fucking slow. And that's a good summation of Chapter 3 in general. It just takes so fucking long. I'm not kidding when I say that it took me 4 hours to beat during this playthrough. That's the same amount of time that it took me to get from Sea Tower to Ollie. Yes, really. Anyway, Chapter 4 is a breath of fresh air. The 2 bosses here are way more strategy-based than anything else, which is so welcome after Chapters 2 and 3. The Ice Veil follows an extremely simple pattern that doesn't even require any regular attacks. Firebird it, and then use the 1000 fold arms. After doing that a couple of times, it's just a matter of not fucking up the ice maze. Easier said than done, but the main point is that a restriction just doesn't matter at all here. Tape is basically just an easier hole puncher. I mean that in the sense that the fight takes forever, but you also don't have to deal with the HP having anymore. Each side of the tape takes like 3 hits with the hammer, and that's also without a 2x. That basically means that you'll be here for like 25 minutes front to back. The second phase is the same level of annoying as the first one. The sticking panels together is usually manageable and pretty negligible even, but here for some reason it is just a nuisance. You pretty much have to take each step turn by turn here. One turn you get the on panel, and then the next turn you get whatever you wanted to use, be it arms or fire vel. There's also times when it does the thing where it puts a line of vertical tape on every single panel in the 2 inner circles. So that basically means that if there's an arrow in front of the thing that you wanted to use, forget that. Even then, after a really long time, it'll go down. Now for the Sumo Bro. This is another really fucking long fight. The tiny guys that steal your panels are a gigantic pain in the ass. After you get the guys with the on and earth vel panels down, the fight is pretty much free, but good fucking luck getting those. The curse of the horrendously placed arrows strikes again, and it's even more annoying here, since you can only attack them from the 2 panels right in front of them. After getting the big guy down, it's just more of the same thing again, except the vels deal a lot to it, so try to spam those as much as you possibly can. Ugh. Time for a break. Handaconda plays pretty much exactly like normal, you just have to attack him more times than usual. After getting Olivia back, it's just a regular fight again. And now Scissors. This is an interesting one. Because of how ungodly ass my damage output was, even if I hit the cover, it still just wouldn't break. Seriously? I hit it 3 separate times and it just refused to die. Once again, like a lot of the bosses in this run, once phase 2 begins, the fight pretty much just ends, as it's only about using the 1000 Forearms and Felumentals against it. And with that we can conclude chapter 5. Only 2 major bosses stand between us and completing the challenge. Stapler is more of the same that we've just seen time and time again. The real trick to this fight is to use the 1000 Forearms as much as possible. It does this, is just so much more damage than a regular attack, it's just insane. It's only worth it to jump when he has his mouth open, as that's when he can actually deal good damage. If you're decent at dodging his attacks, this fight shouldn't be too much of a problem. And we're already at Ollie. Now, will Ollie pose a challenge? Nah, you can quite literally beat him without ever getting hurt. He doesn't hide anything in any chests, and all you need to do is just know what element beats which. If you do it right, you can literally beat him before he goes through more than 2 vels. Phases 2 and 3 aren't affected by our rules, even though phase 2 sucks. And that's the run finished. With a couple exceptions, this run just felt like a regular playthrough of Origami King. I'll be perfectly honest, I just wanted any excuse to play Origami King again, so I figured I might as well make a video about it as well. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.